Okay, today I want to talk about, this summer. Well, it's just not till November 2016. But I'm going to tell you this theory. I don't think Democrats can win elections the proper way. We talk about for 50 years since the Civil Rights Act, the black vote has gone towards Democrats, black votes. Hispanic votes has been dwindling, used to be Republican, and then it dwindled over to Democrats, if you look in history. Now, let's find out why that happened. Is it because they have solutions to the problems? No. The reason why Democrats have been cultivating the black and Hispanic vote is not because Hispanics are all liberal. That's not true. Many Hispanics are, let's say, conservative. They are. They're conservative views. They go to church. They pray to God. A lot of them are not for a gay marriage. Majority of them actually not for gay marriage. Majority of them are for life. If you look at the history, majority, kids are Catholic. They come from Catholic backgrounds, and that's what Catholics, the majority of Catholics are. But Democrats, and let's take blacks, they go to church. Majority of them are against gay marriage too. At least they were, but I don't know poll-wise now if they're for it or not, but from previous polls I've seen, they were, against gay marriage. Yeah, they still go to church, all this, and, praise God. But the Democrats have focused on race baiting. You know how they did it? Because some Republicans, not even really candidates, but mostly Republican supporters, have expressed racial comments towards Hispanics and blacks. They focused on that for 50 years, And for 50 years they have said Republicans and Democrats, it may be longer for Hispanics. 50 years would be for blacks, but maybe longer for Hispanics. But they have focused everything on how to, manipulate minorities like Hispanics and blacks. And I say blacks, but African Americans is the politically correct word. But I know my friends that are black. They don't go by African American. They go by Black American or black. I go by white. I don't go by white American or Caucasian American. But I'm not trying to insult anybody. That's what I say because I call myself white. And the only thing I don't say is yellow for Asian. Whites and blacks, we get called white and black, but Asians, you can't call them yellow because that's racist. And it is racial upbringing, it does have a racial tone to it, because when people called them the yellow man, it was a racist tone, like when they called the Indians red man, that was a racist tone. But anyway, back to the topic. The thing is, they have used race baiting several times, and it happens every election. They'll say, "All Republicans are racist. All Republicans are racist. All Republicans are racist." Instead of finding solutions to the issues, they don't have to come up with solutions to the issues. To get a black person or a Hispanic person to vote for them, all they have to say is, "All Republicans are racist. All Republicans are racist." That's how it's been. That's how it's been. And I already did a 34-minute videotape on stereotyping Republicans. But this one's going to be a little bit shorter. And my point is, if you really want a chance to win without race baiting, but go by the issues, why don't we stick to the issues itself? Like immigration. Not every single Republican believes we should deport them all. There are some Republicans that believe that. There was one Republican by Jeb Bush who believes in amnesty. There is one other Republican by Rand Paul who believes in giving legal status. He doesn't want to change the way a person becomes a citizen. Instead, he wants to keep the same path that we always go. If somebody is legally here, let's say they stay for, they become a resident of the state. They become, after like 2 years, I don't know, 1 year, 2 years, something like that, they could become a resident of the state and then go through the process of becoming a citizen later on. I mean, he wants to keep the same process. Now Donald Trump, he said, we're going to deport them all and then expedite them back. The good ones. Not the bad dudes, but the good ones, he said. Well, okay, first of all, I'm a Republican myself, but are we going to actually try to find all these people, cost millions of dollars, and send them all the way back to Mexico or back to South America or wherever they come from, and then try to send them all back on tax dollars? I mean, that's basically what Trump's plan is. But, honestly, that would not work. That would cost millions and billions of dollars. We don't have. Maybe he's a billionaire, but we're not. Okay? Our country is not. So, that's not a feasible plan. My plan would be like when Paul said, I'm not going to reward them for coming here illegally. I'm not going to make a new process to citizenship. I wouldn't do that, like Rand Paul said. Instead, I would have them get legal status to be here. He left that open because he really didn't say work visa per se. He said legal status. So whatever visa keeps them legally here. And then the resident, and then they can apply for residency. After a certain amount of years. I don't know what states. I think it's done by states, but we'll find. It might be federal too. I'm not an expert in that, and I'm not saying I am. And then become a citizen that way. And that's my famous plan. Now amnesty, I'm not for amnesty. I'm telling you, you can't. If we gave amnesty just because the people came here illegally, then why don't we just give everyone amnesty that came here legally? Make them all citizens. But we can't do that because we gotta have an immigration process. And I agree with Rand Paul and I agree with Donald Trump on the border. We need some wall or some kind of structure or a fence, to make sure that everything's stopped on that, to stop the influx. We can't have all these people coming in at once. And we gotta have some form of legal immigration still going on, That was Rand Paul's plan. The border wall or the border fence or electronic fence with cams or something like that with border with a legal status plan for people that are illegally here, already illegally here. And he said you need a background check, you need a U.S. background check, and you need a home country background check. Because maybe they may not have a criminal record here, but they may have a criminal record there in the home country. And they might have felonies, maybe. And we can't. We got so many felons here in the United States that are citizens. We can't. If they're all people that are here. If there are people here that are not, that have a criminal backgrounds back in their home country or here in the United States, yes, they have to be deported, okay? They have to be deported. But if they don't have a criminal background, when I say criminal background, I'm not talking about them coming here illegally. I'm talking about actually like robbing or committing some actual crime, But, yeah. Personally, yeah, we have to have some system like Rand Paul said. Okay, that's the immigration. Now, criminal justice reform is a big issue, and It's going to take Republicans, Democrats, and Libertarians, virtually every party you can think of, to fix the system. But the thing is, it has gone a lie. It's twisted. It's gone twisted. I mean, let's take police reform and criminal justice reform. It used to be something that Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, they all wanted to work together to fix the system. But now the people that have been advocating this, like Black Lives Matter, which used to be a real movement. And, I mean, it was a very good movement. I mean, they wanted police reform and criminal justice reform. But then they changed it. The movement became an attack on Republicans and Libertarians and conservatives in general. You changed the movement. You became an attack against people that were helping you, because not all conservatives and not all Republicans and not all Libertarians are, against criminal justice reform, against police reform, but you all attacked and said all. And then you guys started attacking the Democrats, the other Democrat candidates. But you didn't focus on Hillary Clinton, who Hillary Clinton is funded by corporations, big banks, that profit from prisons. She's funded by Wall Street. She's also funded by police unions. Police unions are the people who represent law enforcement officers to make sure that every candidate that they fund and endorse is going to protect the law enforcement, not the person that's the victim of law enforcement. I mean, that's the goal, is to make sure officers get a free pass. And the only way officers get a free pass is they fund the politicians. So I just don't get it, because Hillary is funded by all those people, but you're still focused on only Republicans and certain Democrats and Libertarians and saying we're all bad. I mean, you guys twisted the movement. I don't know why you did, but that's not going to help the criminal justice reform or police reform. You're going to need everyone involved to do this. And you can't stereotype one certain group, you can't, because they're not all the same. And then I heard the talking points about Social Security, Medicare, and all that, and, well, you know what, that's not all true. That's something that's been spread by the media, and it's been twisted, okay? It's been twisted so much. Social Security, no. The problem is, Republicans want a chance. They don't want to force privatization, but they want to have that option, because some people want to invest it, but they can't invest it now. The government owns it, basically. Medicare is not going to get cut. Those are all lies. I mean, nobody's trying to cut Medicare. Now, if we're talking about disability, for example, SSI and SSDI or whatever, the problem is there's a lot of that Social Security money is being transferred over there from retirees' account to that, and we have a lot of people working 20 to 30-hour jobs, and they're still collecting SSI or SSDI. Now, why should they be able to collect that if they're actually working? Because, from my understanding, it was developed, and I looked on the website, the legal website, and it said it was developed for people that are unable to work. Not for people that are able to work. If you're able to work, then why are you collecting government assistance? Why are you collecting SSI? Why are you collecting SSDI? If you're able to work, go to work. I mean, you say, well, I'm only getting 20 hours a week. Well, you know what? I know people working 15 hours a week on minimum wage, and they're not collecting any kind of government assistance. So tell me why you still deserve this SSI, SSDI when you are able to work. Okay? So, what we want to cut out is waste. That's what Republicans want to cut out is waste. Now, then they talked about welfare cuts. Oh my God. And they said people wanted to make sure black people don't have anything to support themselves, so they want to cut welfare. Okay, I'm sorry, but the facts are there are more whites on welfare than blacks. There are more whites on welfare than Hispanics. So let me ask you a question. How is it racist when it affects white people more? I think you messed up on that logic. I mean, and then you talked about voter ID law. Oh, well, voter ID law and reducing early voting. Reducing early voting, closing polling stations, purging voters. Well, you know what? All that affects white people too. It's not just a race thing. You know, it affects everyone when they reduce voting hours, or they reduce voting stations, or they reduce early voting, or they do voter ID. It's going to affect everyone, every race. It's not going to affect just blacks or Hispanics. So it's not an object to racism. And for that matter, it doesn't really affect people that much, especially voter ID law. Voter ID law, people have, majority of people of all races have voter ID, not voter IDs, but they have IDs. You know, I mean, majority have it. And it was for fraud, and people try to dismiss fraud because they say it's so small. Well, you don't know the number of fraud, do you? Because elections close, because when elections stop, people don't if an election is not challenged, they're not going to look at fraud, see if there's fraud. And we can't challenge every single election. There'd be millions of dollars of taxpayers' dollars. We don't need millions of taxpayers. What we do is we put an ID there to prevent it. And you can say any kind of preventative measure is stupid. You know, whatever the preventative measure is. But there is a reason for that preventative measure. You know, there's always a reason for it. You know, you might think it's stupid, but it's actually there for a reason. You know. So moving on, I just missed the racism supposedly by voter ID law and purge voting and all that. It's not intentional racism. I forgot redistricting and gerrymandering, as they call it, to put something in your party's favor. But you know what? That happens by party affiliation, not race. See, what the things about the state legislature don't know. The state legislature don't know your party affiliation. They know about the county's party, what the majority of the county's party affiliation is. And when they do that, what they call gerrymandering, I call it redistricting in party's favor, is they look at what county has the most Democrats and look at what county has the most Republicans. So what they do is if they see something has the most Democrats, and let's say it's a Republican legislator, they're going to redistrict it to that the Republican districts have more representation than the Democrat districts. And it happens in Democrat states too. Democrat states will just look at, well, this group has more Republican voters, and this county has more, this district has more Democrats. So I'm going to make this in favor of Democrats. I mean, that is why, and that's why Arizona decided to do a independent redistricting, because, you know, they don't want to put it in anybody's party's favor, you know. Now, Wisconsin's, you know, that's an odd thing, because you had Democrats in power, and then Republicans won. Because the Democrats in power actually did the opposite of redistricting in no favor of what people call gerry. They actually made it in favor of Republicans. Why they did that, I don't know, because that's what made Scott Walker win, and it become a Republican state when it's always been Democrat. So opposite of what, you know, happened. That was, I don't know, that to me, that's ignorant if you're going to make it in favor of the other party's favor, you know? I mean, God, you just gave the election to them. You know, even though your populist vote is more Democrat, you made sure that Republicans won. But anyway, that's a tricky little situation. Now, I think I dispelled a lot of those things that people call racism, and I dispelled a lot of things that, you know, you don't stereotype all Republicans. You know, all Republicans are not the same, and they all have different views. You know, there might be some correlation on some of the views. You know, like majority of Republicans want a wall. You know, and that's an honest truth. Majority of Republicans want a wall, some kind of an extra border security. We know that's all the same, but how to deal with the people that are illegally here, it's not all the same. Now, some Republicans don't want to change the criminal justice reform. They don't want the police reform and all that. But that's not all Republicans, because there are some Republicans that want criminal justice reform, and there are some Republicans that want police reform. You know, it breaks apart, you know, that's why you cannot stereotype. Because you're leaving out people that could actually help you. And help you change and help your cause. So that's all I wanted to say today, and I'm glad I made this video because I just wanted this to get out. Okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.